Hello! Hi everyone. Today is Monday, January 15th? Yes, January 15th, 2018. I am doing my Year of WiPs video, if you didn't already notice. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. I'll do a little bit of an update because I want to talk about a couple other things, but this is mainly going to be my Year of WiPs initial video. So per the rules, you do have to do an initial album or video to show the projects that are going to be part of your Year of WiPs by January 18th. So even though today's the 15th, I might not upload this today, depending on how long it takes me to edit, but I will have it ready to go. Most of these projects, even if I did stitch on them, except for the exception of maybe one, I wouldn't get done anyway. I'll probably work on one or two of these projects, so I'll try to put the pictures up after I've shown or I've done the progress that I'm going to make between now and the 18th. We'll see. But regardless, I won't be done with anything, so they'll still carry on. So if you didn't know, the Year of WiPs is a challenge set up by another stitcher. Her name is Melanie Watkins. She's got a channel here on YouTube. I will I will link that below. There's also a Facebook group called Soulful Stitching, which she is the admin of, and that's where she's hosting Year of WiPs through. So the challenge is a minimum of 15 WiPs that you want to get complete. This year the challenge runs for exactly 12 months, so January 18th to December 18th. Last year was the first year she did it, and it ran a little bit longer. But that's okay. She does ask you to have a minimum of 15 WiPs, and there's a couple ways you can participate. You can kind of just go with the flow, join the group, join the community, and just work on WiPs you want to finish. Maybe you don't have a ton of WiPs, or maybe you just don't like having like a set amount you need to be finished with. But for me, sorry, my camera did something funny there. For me, I like the rules one, I guess. The idea is if you follow all the rules, you get put into a drawing by the end of the year, which is fun, and I'll probably enter if I qualify, just because you never know. But the goal more is to get some of these things done, and maybe not start too much more stuff. Does that make sense? Anyway, I mentioned in my WiP parade, which was a couple videos ago, that I did have around 55 WiPs. It kind of goes up and down from there, you know, because I've started some small stuff, but then I finished some stuff off. So it's kind of been teeter-tottering between like 53 and 57. It's been right in those numbers. Right now I think I'm at like 54 or 56, something like that. And my goal is to try and get some of these done and maybe not start a lot of stuff, so that I can keep my WiPs at 30 or under. We'll see if that happens. Now, I do have to preface this by saying that all these plans might go completely out of the window in 5.5 weeks. If you didn't already know, I am pregnant. I'm expecting a baby girl, Isabella, by the end of February. Based on how things are looking, she may come between the 39-week mark. Like, she might not make it to 40 weeks. We'll see. So if that's the case, it might be a little bit sooner than I thought, but not by a whole lot. So at least I have an idea of when that's happening, and that's going to depend a lot on how baby is. If she sleeps a lot and I'm not already exhausted and I can get some stitching in, if she's really extremely fussy or requires a lot of attention that maybe I wasn't expecting, and I don't mean like the general things that I'm expecting, but if for any reason she needs more attention than what's average, then I might not get a lot of stitching in. Maybe she'll just let me stitch a lot. I know my husband and I plan to kind of give each other an hour of time to kind of do our own thing, so he can get on his game and talk to his, you know, friends that he plays with, so I can get an hour of stitching in and maybe watch some Flosstube. I don't know how many update videos are going to be happening because they do take time, not so much to record but to edit, but maybe some Stitch With Me's or like shorter vlogs, something, I don't know. And again, that might not happen right away. That might be more when we get into the flow of things. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, but it might kind of go up in the air. But I did plan it because I really do think I can get a lot of these things done. I'm going to try and get a couple of the smaller things out of the way before the baby's born, and maybe get some progress on some of the bigger ones, and then probably focus more on them after that kind of 3-month threshold, where it's supposed to, you get just accustomed to functioning without it. I am a teacher, so it really works out for me because, well, I am going to take, you know, the maternity leave, and then I'll have to go back to school for like maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. I know a lot of people are like, just take the time, it's fine, you know, it's 2 weeks. But I kind of do want to go back. I would like to close out the year there. I don't know, like, that's just my thought on it now. Again, that might change when she's born, but I think I would like to go and close it out and kind of get some closure and not just leave things hanging, if that makes any sense. But then after that, I do get the summer, so that's really nice. Now this year, because of the way the schedule worked out, the summer's gonna be a little bit shorter than it usually is. And it's gonna even out by, you know, because we'll get out earlier in the following year, but like for now, it's gonna feel shorter. So I could use that time to probably get some more stitching in if she has settled more, if we've gotten into a routine and things have worked out that way. So that's when I really plan to tackle some of this stuff. And of course, we'll have to figure out once the school year starts back up again in the later half of the year, how things are going to go there. And that's just going to have to take it as I go. But I will show you my plans. Update first. Yeah, I'll do my update first because it's just a couple things, and then I'll go right into Year of WIPs, and I'll mention Stitch from Stash as well. So let's get to it. Okay, so for the very first part of the video, I am going to go do the update. I basically have 2 things to mention. One is I do have a finish and an FFO. Unfortunately, I don't have it to show you. I was going to do a small update video before I took this where it was going to go, but it just didn't work out that way, so I apologize. I'll insert some pictures. So I did mention of Year of WIPs, and I've mentioned in my other videos that my LNS is having a challenge where you are given a piece and you have to modify it. Usually the challenge consists of just changing fabric and flosses out to make it unique. But this challenge for this year, which really started last year, but because of the way it worked out, it ended up being due at the very beginning of this year. It's actually due by today, but I turned it in because we have a Tuesday night stitching, so I brought it to last Tuesdays just because I didn't know if I'd be able to get out to the shop by today. Really, I could say that, but really it was due Saturday because she's closed Sunday and Monday, so I wouldn't have been able to actually take it today. But I sometimes can get to the shop on Saturday. They do a Saturday stitching, but we usually have a ton of stuff going on, grocery runs or plans or whatever, so I don't really get to go very often to that. I usually get to go to Tuesdays for the next few weeks anyway, and then that's not going to happen anymore for a little while, which I'll miss, but it is what it is. It's fine. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought, which really does happen a lot more when you're pregnant. Even though I do that, sometimes I feel like it's happening a lot more. Yeah, so the piece is called A Reality Check by Summer House Stitchworks. I believe it was introduced in Nashville last year. And it's a sampler with 15 motifs that is supposed to represent the designer's favorite reality TV shows. I've tried to look for what the symbols stand for, because, I mean, you're supposed to try and guess and then go look it up, and I haven't found it, so if anybody knows them, that would be really cool to find out. But anyway, for our challenge, we had to swap out those motifs and put in our own that represents things we like in our life. It could be TV shows, or it could be just things we like to do, or genre we enjoy, like a fandom we're part of, whatever. So I will insert a picture of the piece as well as it framed, which I did do myself. I think I did a pretty decent job. I think I'm getting a little bit better at framing things a little bit at a time, because we all know custom framing can be quite expensive, and I'd like to reserve that for projects that I either think I can't do on my own or I really, really want a nice frame for. The other thing I was thinking is maybe getting some custom mats done, but then doing the framing myself. I'll have to really start looking into that at some point. So yeah, so here's a picture of the finished piece, and I'm gonna follow it by the framed piece. So here you go. Alright, so yeah, that was my piece. I'm super happy with how it turned out. I made some changes along the way, but I think overall it turned out pretty much as I wanted it to. The frame was honestly lucky. I was looking for a frame. It's just too small to fit in an 8x10, but I knew that there were some 8x12s out there, and I found one, which is what that frame was, and it was perfect. So as you can see, height-wise, it would have been fine. The 8 would have worked in the 8x10, but for the lengthwise, it would have just not worked out. It would have been right on the border, and that to me would have looked funny. I like having about the same all the way around. If it's not exact, it's not a big deal. Some pieces, it works to have like room on the fabric on like 2 of the sides and not the top and bottom, but for the most part I like even all the way around or right up to the border if it works with the piece. So I was really happy with the 8x12 because as you can see, it pretty much was 10 inches long because you have just about an inch on either side of that. So it worked out beautifully. Had I gotten the 8x10, it would have been right up to the border on the length side and then have that inch on the top and bottom, or a little less than an inch. So I am happy with that. The other thing I wanted to update you is that my husband, who is amazing, got something for me, essentially. I mean, I was there, but I didn't like eye it out or pick it out. He just did it on his own. We were at Michael's finding some frames for some pictures we wanted to hang up because we're trying to get stuff done that we have been kind of left hanging forever, really, and just, you know, before she's here. We have some pictures we needed to get framed and hung up, but we didn't want to do custom framing for them either. Thankfully, they were a pretty standard size, so we were just able to go get some of the ready-made frames and just pop them in and hang them up. And I feel like I got something else. I don't remember. I think I might have picked up some floss, I think is what it was. But I wasn't planning on getting it. I just saw it and I was like, oh yeah, I was looking for that, so I picked it up. But then, you know, as we were walking out, he kind of led me, you know, to a section of the store, and I'm like, okay. And he showed me this wonderful cart. Not the 3-tier one that looks like the famous IKEA cart that now Michael's also has, but a different cart. Actually, a cart I'm very familiar with because a lot of teachers use them. Ever since I started deciding, like when I decided my major was going to be education and I started doing classroom visits, at first it's just like a couple hours, like once every week or so. I saw people with this cart. I see teachers in my school now that use it. I know a lot of crafters use it as well. And even some people in the makeup community use it as well. And it's a cart that for a while I really wanted, but it was always really, really pricey. And finally, I just think it's been out for so long. I don't know if it's just getting discontinued or what. Hopefully not, because I think it's really popular. But usually it was like $65, $70. And you couldn't use a coupon on it a lot of the time because they considered that like this value. I don't know what they priced it at to make that a value. But the cart was $30 and he was looking at me and he's interested, you know, like when we are into something, we just kind of look at each other and look at the item and we're like, and that's kind of what he did. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, do you like it? I'm like, well, yeah, it's really cool. And he's like, I think we should get this because your desk always has all these projects on over it. And you start with one project and you lay your floss out and it's good. But then you work on something else that you don't entirely clean up the old one, or it gets pushed to the side. And then there's just, there's bobbins everywhere. He didn't use that word, but he said like it's just everywhere. And I think this would be really cool because that way in each drawer you can put whatever the project is that you're working on and just lay your stuff in there, your paper or whatever, the pattern, and like your little flosses, and just put it in there and then it'll be all clean. And I was like, okay, are you sure? Like, do you want? And he's like, yeah, let's get it. It's $30. And I mean, I was really surprised because I'd never seen that card at that price. So I was like, okay, yeah, awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that now. I'll just take the camera over and do a little video, but I thought that was really cute and really sweet, and I really enjoyed kind of setting it up. I've only got about half of it filled now. Even though I have all the WIPs, usually I'll only be working on a few at a time, and that's, you know, that is a great idea because I can still keep them out and pick them up easily instead of putting everything completely away and then having to go searching for it. I think one thing I'd like to do after I whip down this year, I don't know if this is going to happen this year, just between getting ready for your WIPs, then Isabella coming, and how crazy that's going to be. I just don't think I'll have time, but I really am looking into a different way of kitting up my projects, because usually I take the bobbins from my master set of DMC and I put it in the envelope with the project, or if I'm using it, it's in front of me or now in the drawer, or in a bobbin box if it's a slightly larger project. And it's getting to the point where there are some projects I don't want to unkit, but enough bobbins are missing from my master set of DMC that they're kind of flopping around a little bit. I think the bobbin box is great. I have the two-sided one that fits the full set of DMC. I think even with the new 35 colors, it should fit. But I think I'm going to have to take the time to organize it out a little bit better and try to see if I can fit a few more bobbins in certain spots. But I don't know how that's going to work out, so we'll have to see. Hopefully I can squash them into the box whenever I do get them. But anyway, it's getting to the point where enough of them are missing that my bobbin box gets a little bit messy because, you know, like when all the bobbins are in the slot, they're nice and flush. But if there's like more than just 2 missing per row, they start flopping and falling, and yeah, I think it might be easier to maybe cut some lengths, unless I know I'm going to use a lot of the skein, and just get a new skein. We'll have to see what I decide with that. But yeah, for now, I just take the bobbin out and lay it out. If it's a bigger project, I'll just take out the colors I'm using at that moment, and then, you know, take more out later. But anyway, I am digressing. I'm going to insert the video of the cart, the clip with where I show you the cart here, and then we'll continue. So here's that. Hey guys, so this is the magical cart that my hubby got me. Ooh. Yep, so these are the 2 Recollections carts that look like the IKEA cart. And I originally was going to get a third one, but I decided against this, and instead, hold on, let me do this without making you sick. I had this cart over on this side. Oop, my drawer is open. There we go. So I have my fabric in there, and I liked it because I have this surface so that I could put stuff on. But, my hubby was getting real tired of the mess, as I mentioned, and he saw this and he's like, this is it. This is for your WIPs. Do you want it? I'm like, yes. This is amazing. So basically, in each drawer I just put like the project and, you know, there's a couple because there's birth samplers because I just put them together. But the flosses that I'm using are in there, the patterns in there, and it's just real easy to work on. Now these do have a thing that causes it to stop, but I didn't include them, so if I wanted to pull it all the way out, I could. But it does also have the option you can install these little plastic stoppers so that the drawer doesn't pull out, because not everybody would want that. But I decided to do it without. So I've got project in here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and then the bottom is, oh, I think I've got one in here. Yeah. And the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4 are empty. So I've got 6 of them with stuff in it. and it's awesome. And then on top, I did my double-sided cases. So this is my DMC full set. These are variegateds and light effects. This includes the DMC variegated, as well as Joddery and Moe's cottons, and also some of the other DMC, like the light effects and the satins. And there's plenty of space in this one. So yeah, I love this thing. It's amazing, and it keeps my desk a lot clearer. Right now it kind of looks messy, but there really isn't a lot on there. It's just the current project I'm working on. But if I decide to stop working on it, all of that is going to go in that drawer there. So it's awesome. Alright, that is it for me. I'll see you in the rest of the video. Hey guys, so surprise clip. I know I said I was only going to do 2 before I started, but I'm doing 3. Why? I totally forgot I had something come in the mail. I did purchase this last year, but it didn't get here till this year. I mean, last year's, and I think it was December 30th, or it might have been December 31st. Before Stitch from Stash started. And I apologize because I happened to go downstairs for something, and I saw it on the table, and I was like, ah, I need to show this. So I'm even more winded than I was before. As I mentioned, probably a bunch of times, I love mermaids. I love stitching them, and one of the biggest designers for mermaids is Nora Corbett. And she has one design that has been discontinued of a mermaid. I think all the other ones are still in print, but this one isn't. And I had happened to comment on somebody's finished picture, and I was like, oh, this is gorgeous, you did an amazing job. One day I hope to have this pattern. And she messaged me and she's like, you know, I'm not going to stitch this again. I don't mind selling it to you, and I'll throw in a lot of my beads that were left over and some treasures that were left over. And I was like, okay, great. How much? Very, very reasonable. She didn't like charge me an exorbitant amount. I know some people do that. Which, whatever, it is what it is. I'm not against that particularly, as long as you're not like doing something ridiculous, you know? If you try to sell somebody a pattern for like $500 when its original price was like $13.50, that's kind of crazy. But if it's something that's been out of print and you make an extra 10 bucks of it, off of it, I really don't see an issue with that. I mean, it's like supply and demand, or buying something from an antique store that has a lot of value. I get that. I just, obviously some people charge exorbitant amounts. So like, I wasn't like, oh, I can't believe you're charging me a little. No, and besides I got the beads, so it kind of evened out. That pattern is the Queen Mermaid. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Look at her. She's so elegant. And I guess I might as well show you. She sent me the beads. The only thing is one of the treasures is discontinued, and she had, she originally had it, but she didn't think she had enough, so she bought something to replace it with, and then she did have enough. So she sent me those. So if I find something closer to what the original was, or if somehow I run into the original, I'll use it, but if not, I have something to use. So that's this treasure here. It's a little teardrop, and it's like clear but like colorful when it shimmers, kind of like the Aurora Borealis kind of shimmer. This is supposed to be emerald, but they don't have the emerald ones, so if I get it, we'll see. I also have another one of those. Some of the crystal, what are these called? I forget what they're called. It's on here, I believe. These are called the Margarita treasures, and they're in amethyst, so they're like little flower treasures. Purple color there. Oh, another teardrop. Antique glass seed beads in like a white clearish. A few more of those Margarita treasures in amethyst, because you need 2 packs. This sort of grayish glass seed bead. Kind of yellowish pearl seed bead. A teardrop, but in amethyst, so she has both amethyst and emerald, but if I can't find the emerald, I'll use the clear. There's that. these purple beads, which I think I might have these, but I might have the petite, so it's good that I have those. Another pack of those pearly ones, and these sort of gunmetal-y colored ones. And I think that's all the beads I'm gonna need. I might need more of the gunmetal ones. I think that pack was already started. The others look almost complete. Maybe the purpley ones I might need to get more. It depends how much she takes. I'm really excited about this, you guys. I'm probably going to start this on my birthday. If I could start it over the summer, I will. But I don't anticipate doing that. So maybe I'll start this on my birthday. Yeah, so that's that. Okay, so starting now with Year of WIPs. So my plan is to work on 26 projects. I know that sounds like a lot, but a couple things were amended, I guess you could say, from last year's rules. Pieces that have monthly installments, the monthly installments can count as individual WIPs. I didn't do that for all of them. I've got a couple that are close enough to being done that I'm counting it as one WIP and the whole project's getting done. But there is a couple things where I'm going to use the installment. One is for the Heaven and Earth, because there's no way I'm finishing 2 Heaven and Earths. I don't think I could even finish one. I mean, maybe, but you never know. But you can count each page as a WIP. So I am including 3 different Heaven and Earth design pages, and I have one project that is just one of those monthlies, and I'm including February as a WIP and March as a WIP. Other than that, they are entire projects that I'm working on. Flosstube itchy nose. Hold on. Okay. I wanted to keep myself organized because I knew if I just made this list and I didn't have it as a visual, it wasn't gonna work. And it doesn't help for me to have, like, I do have an app on my phone. I use the Evernote app and organize my starts and my finishes that way, but that's not something I'm constantly looking at. That's just more to document over time what I've started, what I finished. Like, I can click into it and see how many I've got started, and I can really look through it when I don't quite remember. Now that I've got the envelopes, it's also easy to flip through those. But it's nice to kind of keep it as a record of finishes. I used to be real fancy and put, like, when I started, if it was for a sal, if it was through a group, if it was an Instagram stitch along, if it was a Flosstube stitch along, what the fabric was, what stitches were involved, what flosses were involved. Maybe for some projects I'll do that, like something that's heavily beaded or heavily embellished, probably like a chatelaine, but I don't think I'm gonna do that for every single project anymore. I try to at least put when I started and when I finished. That's pretty much it. And if I don't remember the exact date because I didn't do it right away, I try to at least remember the month and the year. That's good enough for me. I don't need to track exactly when I started stuff. So anyway, in order to keep myself organized with a lot of things, I decided to get myself a planner, and I decided to go with a happy planner. I've seen these a lot, and I honestly wasn't that interested because they were pricey, but Michael's was having a sale, plus I was able to use my teacher discount, so I got this for $10 and some change. So I figured, why not? I also like it because of the way the paper goes in the rings. It just pops in and out, so you can easily add stuff, and that's one of the main reasons I don't always like notebooks, because you can't insert stuff. Like, you could rip stuff out, but then you might have to start stuff again. Like, I'm really picky about, like, pages being in between and stuff like that. It just, I don't know. But this is nice because it's not a binder, so it's not like that thick, heavy binder. But you can easily pop stuff in and out and move it around if I change my mind of where I want something to go. So I really like that. I'm using, I did get these 2 things mainly because it came in a pack with some paper I wanted, and again, it was on sale for like $4. So I figured it'd be nice to have a little pocket with an envelope. It happened to come with some stickers. But yeah, this is like a whole phenomenon, just planning, journaling. You guys know the Bujo or the bullet journal. These happy planners are a big thing, and they sell tons of accessories, but I didn't do it to get into the hobby. I don't want to buy all the sticker packs and all the paper packs and all the little cute things that they sell, because honestly it could be a very big rabbit hole, and I'd honestly rather spend my money on cross stitch stuff. And if I ever really get more into it, knitting / crocheting stuff. It also came with this little cute paper clip as a marker, which I thought was pretty cute. But my goal was just to have something to write stuff in. And I do like decorating pages, but I know it's a turnoff, and some people have talked about it to have to do it every single month or every single week or whatever it is. So I'm like, I like spending some time, especially at the beginning of the year, getting some stuff as we do, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I need healthy, and we make all these plans, and then it kind of fizzles out. For a lot of things, I do like to keep up, but I know with something like this, I get excited about it maybe the first 3 months, and then, so because I'm into it now and I have that momentum, I'm like, spend maybe 1 to 3 days tops creating everything that I wanted to create. Yes, it's time I could have been stitching, but I did this instead, but I enjoyed it, I had fun, and it's not something I'm gonna have to repeat every month. So yeah, the first thing I did is started practicing my faux calligraphy there. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where you write stuff out in cursive, but you leave spaces in between and then you thicken up the spaces. It's technically not calligraphy because calligraphy is supposed to be one stroke, which also interests me, but one day, you know. But I really like that, and so, and also brush lettering, which is a little bit closer to calligraphy because you're essentially doing it in one stroke, though I have seen some where you do go back, so I don't know if technically it's faux calligraphy, but it's a pretty way of writing, which I enjoy. But again, it does take time, and it's not something I want to do all the time. So the next thing I did was that I created a page for my Stitch from Stash, and I figured I might as well talk about it. Before you get all crazy about it, what I tend to do is I'll either pull up a font on the computer and try and copy it as much as possible, or I actually print it out and trace it on and then go back and fill it in. So I don't have time to try and figure out how to write it all pretty, and I like it to match and be even, and that I know that's just not going to happen right away, and I just don't have enough time. I want it to look cute, but I'm not a calligrapher, and even though it sounds like a cool hobby, I don't want to spend too much time, like I said, because then I'm just going to be like, I just want to stitch. So I printed that out and traced it on. Some of the stuff I did end up writing, but definitely this. And I just split it up into the months. Stitch from Stash is split up into Part A and Part B, so January through June, and then August through or July through December. And I'm just keeping track of how much I'm spending or crediting, depending. Very simple. I'm not writing like which WIP I worked on, what the finish was, or anything like that. If it was a finish or if I sold something, I just put sale. I'm not gonna put like I sold this, I sold that. So that's Stitch from Stash. If you don't know about that one is also run by another Flosstuber, Miss Oh So Crafty. I'll insert her channel link down below, and she also has a Facebook group. However, the challenge is closed already for Part A, so keep an eye out in like end of June maybe, and you can join in for Part B. And I think she just did it that way because realistically, it's easier to do a challenge like this split up. I think that was the idea behind it, and also that way other people can join in. Also, I like it because you can give yourself a budget of 0 and try to not spend anything. But the idea is to go up to a budget of $25 per month, just because realistically, we know we might want to buy things. But if we put a limit on ourselves, it'll be helpful. Oh my goodness. I'm getting to that point where I get out of breath a little bit easier, just by like sitting here and talking. But yeah, so I give myself a budget of $20. Finishes do earn you credits. Sale earns you credits as well. Obviously a sale is real money. You sold something, you got something. For the finishes, technically it's a credit to you, but it is, you know, money up in space. So if it's something where you don't actually have the money, or you know it's not something that you're going to have at the end of the year or at the end of Part A or whatever to then spend later on, or to save, or whatever it is that you want to do with it, it would be helpful maybe to actually get a 20 and put it aside and like save it up to something, because a lot of people do that. They're like, I want to try and limit my spending because I want to get a chatelaine, or I want to get an Omanic frame, or I just need to save X amount of money this year. But if it's, you know, virtual credits, then, I mean, is it really there? Anyway, you might still not have that $150 or whatever it was. So you could actually set it aside as well. Right now I'm kind of doing it as virtual money unless it's a sale and it's actually there, but it's a good way to keep track of that. I also took the time, what I did do, because somebody mentioned this idea and I thought about it, but I thought it would crowd the page. Actually did messed up a little bit, so I had to cut one of my pages, but it worked out because I have this little strip here and I'm just keeping track of what I'm spending on. That I think is really cool because that way I can see where it's going. I didn't get too specific, but just the general. So I spent $3 on an Etsy pattern and I put that there, and I got some fabric and a pattern off of 123 Stitch, so I put that there. I try to buy most of my things either from a small business like one of you guys that has a small business or my LNS, but every once in a while I'll buy something from 123 Stitch. I used to a lot more. I don't really as much anymore. That does help me save as well. I know Michelle Garrett Bendy Stitchy has mentioned that, like, if you just, you know, shop all your LNS, it does save you money, unless I guess you travel a lot and you visit a lot of them, then maybe not. But yeah, I figured it'd be a cool way to see, like, am I spending stuff, and I can go back and see, like, did I ever stitch that pattern, or did I use that fabric, or was that really worth it? So maybe it'll help me in the future, like when I go to make a purchase, decide. Now, I don't think I'm terrible about just buying stuff and just letting it sit. I usually, like fabric, I usually only buy if I have a plan for it. So that's not really a problem for me. But the Etsy patterns sometimes can add up because they're digital, so they're not always in the forefront of my mind, so it's good to have that there. So anyway, I also printed out the rules and the finish file. Sorry, this one's a little harder to turn because it's just a little strip. And I obviously didn't want to write that out, so I kind of cheated with the whole journal. I just printed it out. It was already all typed up. I just printed it out and taped it on and decorated with some washi tape. So I put the rules and the finish grid, which helps you calculate values for finishes. And I just did that because it's easier than having to click into the Facebook group all the time. But now what this video is really about is Year of WIPs. So this I did take some time on, but I really wanted to do this. Write down all my WIPs and write some sort of progress tracker. Originally I was going to do 10% at a time, but it'd be too much work. I'm not actually calculating by number of stitches. I'm just kind of eyeballing the project and I'm like, okay, that's about 25% done. But here it is. Again, I printed this out and then I traced it and went over it with colors. Colorful pen, and then I also glued that on with washi tape, just because of the way the page was set up. So I wrote my projects here 1 through 26, and I did this chart here, and I just did it by fourths. So 25%, 50, 75, 100, and I do kind of, you know, go in between. Like if I know I'm at like 60%, I'll color 50 and then a little bit of the 70 bar. Obviously all these need to be started before the 18th, so I have 1 and technically 2 down here to start. So one of the birth samplers I'm going to do, I had a friend that recently had a baby and 2 cousins that recently had a baby, so I'm doing a birth sampler for each of them. One of my other friends is having a baby in a couple weeks. Our girls are going to be about 3 to 4 weeks apart depending on when Isabel is born. And yeah, I don't know if I'll do something for her. It depends on like what her plans are for the room and stuff like that. And I do want to do something for Isabella, but I haven't decided what yet. So that'll be coming at some point. But these I do want to get done because my 2 baby cousins were already born about 5 months ago. So I really need to get on it. Was it 5 months ago? Yeah, 4.5, 5 months. So yeah, I gotta get a move on those. And this is the SAL that I was talking about, where I have to start on the part that I want to get going on. So I have 26. I won't read them now because I'm gonna go through them. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm tracking, and I like having this visual so I can see how much of it is done, where they are, and what the projects are. Then I also printed out the details and just washi taped it on and used some of the stickers that came with the pack I had bought. And I also did this little thing down here just to remind myself to do the updating of the album in the video. So yeah, just the rules there in case I ever want to Look at them. The last thing that I did, and this again I created on Excel. I know a lot of people actually measure it out if you have the bullet journals and create this grid, but I know that if I did that to myself, I wouldn't do this every month. Maybe I would have made one for January and then I would have been like, nope, done. It's a WIP tracker. So I did this on Excel. It really was very fast. And the only thing I am doing to make it unique is practicing my faux calligraphy once a month with the month date, the month name. That's it. So I figured that's something I could probably commit myself to. And if I really wanted to, I could probably, like if I ever really felt like it, I could just print these out ahead of time and do them, and then they'll be done anyway. So if I ever get, you know, motivation, I'm like, I just want to get those done, I can always go ahead and get it done. But if not, it's something I only have to worry about once a month. The only thing is that I kind of want to be able to delete some of these if they do get finished, just because like there's no point having it there if it's done. So that's why I didn't want to print them out ahead of time. But if I get really annoyed of doing that every month, or if I notice I'm forgetting, I might just want to go ahead and pre-print them out and then just cross it out if it is finished. So I included, and I just typed up the name of my year of WIPs, and I left some blank spaces because I know I'm going to work on other stuff sometimes, and that way I can just write it in. I did save a blank version of this just for future use. I don't mind sharing if anybody wants it. I don't know, just let me know, I guess. And then you can either type it in yourself or you can write it in. There's currently 32 slots. But if you have a slightly larger planner or slightly smaller, you could always edit to make it less or more. And I'm just putting what days I work on them. Obviously what I did is I ended up creating like 4 different sheets, and one with 31 columns, 30, 29, and 28. Obviously the 29 I'll use every 4 years, and the 28 I'll only use every most years, I guess. Once a year, except for a leap year, I'll have the 29. But the 30 and the 31, obviously, 31 is what, 6 months, and the 29 is once, 28 is once, 30. So you know what I mean. Like most of the months are 30 or 31, so those are the ones I'm going to use the most. But yeah, so again, print it out, taped it on, called it a day. I'm not going to write what I work on every day or anything like that, or reflections, just because that's going to take too long, especially once the baby's here. But I can take a moment to highlight the square of what I worked on. And since this is done, all I have to do is print it out. It's not something I have to worry about creating every month. So I like doing this kind of stuff, but I also don't want to spend eons on time of it, and I think that's what drew me away from it. But having it all set to go, I feel ready to use. So that is my notebook. And I know I haven't actually shown you any WIPs. Actually, let me leave this open so I can make sure I've shown you all the WIPs for my year of WIPs. I'll leave that in front of me, and then we'll call it a day. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so my first WIP is Quotes to Live By. This is a Sal from last year by Emma Cogden. Her Etsy name is Stitchrovia, that's her store name, but her name is Emma Cogden. If you're not familiar with her, she does a lot of designing for magazines, and that's where she's known as Emma Cogden. But her Etsy store is called Stitchrovia. This is in her store. It is all released. The parts are sold separately, so you do have to like add 9 different parts to your cart, but it's very, very affordable. I don't know what the price in pounds is, but whatever depending on the exchange rate, it's usually between $2.12 and $2.40. I think the highest that I ever saw it for was like $2.38. And so, times 9, that's like about $18, $19, which is what most, smaller Sal's cost. So it's not unreasonable. For me, it didn't feel like it because I paid for it as it was released each month. I actually worked on this WIP when it started last year in January. It ran through September, so there were only 9 releases. But at one point I stopped working on it. I did actually keep caught up. I didn't start caught up, but I caught up by February, and then I stayed for a couple more months. But then because I made so many color changes and because I have certain ideas in my head, I really needed to wait till the entire pattern was released, and now that it has been, I've been working on finishing that up. So because that is in my scroll frame currently, I'm gonna insert a couple pictures here of what it looks like finished and where I am. So here is that. Okay, so I'm having a lot of fun with that project. I apologize, I'm so out of breath now. Being pregnant is crazy how out of breath I get just talking. Oh, somebody calling me. Oh, it's totally a telemarketer. I hate that. I hate that. I'm getting a lot of that. Anyway, so I chose a variegated for kind of, there's a main word in each quote that kind of stands out a lot, and then I base all my colors around it. So that's why you're seeing so many different colors there, and I'm having a ton of fun with that. That is almost done. I could probably have finished that by the 18th, but I wanted to include it in Year of WIPs. So I've been working on it. I'll probably work on it a little bit today, but it won't be done by the 18th. So I'm gonna definitely be working on that. Probably by January it should be done. So that I'm really excited about because I do really want to get that done. My next project for Year of WIPs, pardon me. Oh, you know what? It's fine. I'll get it in a second. It's not for the video, so please leave it. And my dogs are laying there. Harry Potter titles. This is a pattern I created myself. You might have seen something similar, but I really wanted something a little bit more unique, especially with the fonts. I do plan on making this available in my Etsy. In fact, I kind of want to get a jump on that. I do have an Etsy, but there's nothing for sale yet. I really only used it to purchase stuff. But I did create a shop title. I'm not ready to debut it yet because there's nothing there. But I figured, hey, I'm not going to be getting checks for a few weeks there in maternity leave. So maybe if some people are interested in this pattern, or if I sell other stuff on there, I can get a little extra money. Who knows? Anyway, so this is what it looks like. I'm keeping it far back because I do want to sell this, so you know. But yeah, I just have different fonts and all the titles of the Potter books, and I'm doing it on 16 count black Ada. With colors that match the color of the Harry Potter, the actual, leave that alone please, Harry Potter, like the name Harry Potter on the original US covers. So there was gold, silver, green, orange, blue, purple, and red. So that's what I decided for my colors, but of course you could do whatever you want. So yeah, I also worked my butt off to make sure these are the exact same width, even though the lengths of the words are different. So you can see I used different fonts and spaced it out a little bit differently so that it would all match up, because I didn't want like a shorter one and a longer one. Anyway, yeah, so that is that. I want to get this done as well. Obviously it's in my Year of WIPs, but this is one that I really want to get done so I can have a model along with my pattern. If I don't get it done by the time I'm ready to put this pattern up, it's fine, I'll still put the pattern up, but it'll be nice to at least eventually have a model. So I'm excited about that because it could be the start to me doing an Etsy shop. Alright, the next project is my Magical Creatures calendar. This is by Clouds Factory. It was a stitch along, I believe, 3 years ago now. Hold on, I'm getting uncomfortable. I believe it was 3 years ago. I started it when Adele did her Magical Creature Stitch Along the year following it. And I kept up halfway through the year and then I was done. Part of the reason is I think I stitched my favorite blocks. But I really do want to get this done. So I'm sorry this is in black and white, but this is what it's going to look like. This was back with their old design where like the people didn't really have arms. Now their characters do have arms, which is fine. I'm happy with that design. I like it. I think I might like it a little bit more. I don't know. I think some would work better with the old design and some would work better with the new design with the arms. I was interested in the stitch along for this year. Then I realized I don't remember the name anymore, but it's like also like fantasy creatures, and the teaser was Medusa. So for some reason I thought it was all going to be Greek mythology, but it's not, because the first release included Leprechaun and Medusa. So I'm like, okay, this might not be what I expected, which is why I'm so glad I did not buy it. Because that's the problem with mystery cells. You might not like a lot of it, or enough of it, that you just don't really want to stitch it. So I'm glad I didn't purchase it. I think I'm gonna keep doing that from now on. Like, unless it's something where you can really tell what it's gonna be, then I don't think I'm gonna go for mystery cells until at least half of it has been released. So right now I'm thinking that the only one I might eventually stitch is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery one, which is surprising because I usually don't like the Frosted Pumpkin one either. It's just the style is, even though it's similar to Cloud's Factory, I don't like it as much, but the animals I think look really cool. I think they look better in their cutesy form than the people, but that's not entirely fair because there are some Frosted Pumpkin patterns I like as well. I just don't like it as a whole, like as much as some other designs that are similar. But yeah, anyway, I went on a tangent there. So this is stitched on 32 count Mystic Lugana by Silk Weavers. I know they're a pain to order from, so I got this on eBay, and I see it there pretty often, so you might be able to get it, but if not, I'm sure there's something similar if you like it. The border is done in Mo's Cotton in Pride, and it's halfway complete. So I've got the January block, and I didn't do the months. I'm not a big fan of putting months in the stitch-alongs, but unless like it is, the whole point of the stitch-along is to put the month, but I think this kind of took away from it. So there's that one. Oh, February, March, April, May, June, and July. So I did get a little bit more than halfway. Yeah. One of the main reasons I stopped too is because August is 2 unicorns. Unicorns or Pegasuses? Unicorns. And I just didn't want to stitch all the white. But now I'm motivated, and this is one that I really, really do want to get done. So I've got some unicorns left. I've got, oh my gosh, I forgot the name of that, and I'm gonna look it up because it's going to bug me. And this video is gonna be really long, even though I wasn't expecting it to, because of course it's me and I talk a lot. Satyr. Anyway, September is a satyr. Ellie, can you come here? Sorry, I don't like my dog wandering like that because she tends to go into the bedroom and take stuff she shouldn't be taking. Then November is some fairies down here, and then December is an abominable snowman, which is really an adorable snowman. So yeah. Oh, and October is a witch. So I'm really excited to get that done. I'm kind of swapping out colors as I go if I find that I want to, and I'm using a lot of my leftover kit floss and just going as close as possible if I want to keep the color, or picking a new color. I kept this one pretty similar to what the original colors were. I just, you know, changed some stuff out. Like for the wizard, he had blue robes, and I used a blue variegated silk, but it was still blue. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working on that. The next one I have is called Victorian Palm, and it is a small kit by Needle Magic Inc. This is a company that is out of business, but I did get a lot of their kits on eBay, and the reason I did that is because you can see my Q-snap stuff there. The reason I did that is because my first kit ever was a Needle Magic ink, so I kind of went on a craze and tried to find as many as possible. So this is something that I started ages ago, like literally when I first started stitching. This is what it's going to look like, and it is almost done. I actually worked on this when I was editing my Year of WIPs video, so the progress you had seen on Year of WIPs was completely taken up. Ellie, come here. Come here. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go on. Please stay. Stay. Go lay down. Go lay down. Good girl. Thank you. Okay, so when I showed this, I literally just had this corner done. Or, no. Yeah, this corner done. So I finished the border all the way around the main border in half stitches. You can see that there. And then I'm going around and either, you know, as I get to that corner, so I started and I just, like, I was like right around here. So I decided to just go all the way around and finish the rectangle out. And now I'm filling in the half stitches. I'm doing the top leg and also doing the frilly bits at the corner. So I can see this getting done quick, and I stopped working on it because I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna finish this in no time. So I really, it's one main color that needs to be done, and then there's some like accenting with a darker color. And then this will be done. So I'm really excited to get that complete. It's just a cute little pattern that's gonna go somewhere. It's on 14 count Aida that came with the kit. Looks like a cream colored Aida. It's alright. The only thing is the floss lengths are really short. So that's a little frustrating because I feel like I do like 10 stitches and then I need new floss. And I know it's not 10 stitches, but I just feel like I'm constantly putting floss on my needle, and it's kind of annoying. Okay. Trinidad Santa is my next Year of WIPs here. So I want to do all the Mill Hill Santas. They're currently 54. Sandra Cozzolino actually has a ton more because she designed for other companies before Mill Hill. And I recently discovered that, and I've gotten a couple kits, but I think my main goal is to do the Mill Hill ones, since those are the ones that are still constantly being released. 3 a year, by the way. And then stitching the other ones when I can. So I've done 3 already. This is my 4th. This is from, I apologize, last year's release, which was Caribbean Santas, or Caribbean Santas, however you prefer to say it. And this is the Trinidad one. Just started to start with this guy because of his beautiful parrot friend. So this is where I am at currently. Pretty decent. Definitely can get him done. I actually want to get more Santas done this year than just him. In fact, this is some of the projects I actually see myself getting a heads up on because they are smaller. It's the bigger projects that are usually harder for me to work on because like you have to get so much more ready and so much more stuff out. I think when the baby's here, this will be something easy that I can pull out and work on. So maybe I'll get more than I had planned. Last year I had the crazy idea of doing 1 a month, and I really could have if I'd stitched more. I just didn't stitch a lot last year. But anyway, with that, I would have had to start them because they have to be WIPs. So that's why they're not included. But I definitely can get at least a couple more done this year. Last year I managed to get 3 done, so I can at least get 3 done this year, I think. But maybe more, hopefully. So that is that one. My next one is Hugging Penguin Stocking Drats. I don't have that on me. I'm gonna go get it because I want to show you instead of inserting later. I'm just gonna pause, come back. Okay, I'm back. So this is the stocking I want to get done for my daughter. This is actually a needlepoint kit, which I picked mainly because of the design. I've mentioned this a million times, but not everybody knows. My husband's family has a tradition. Everybody has a homemade stocking. The eldest aunt in the family, my father-in-law, has 6 sisters. He is right in the middle, and there's 7 of them all together. Started making stockings for everyone. First the felt applique, then the cross stitch. She does have a few needlepoint kits, but she hasn't actually done them because usually she'll buy the newer designs for a unique design and have a few choices so that when a new member is going to be added, she doesn't have to run to the store, order online, and she doesn't do a lot of ordering online, so run to a store. really. She just has like 5 or 6 kits to pick from. And when you've got such a big family, trust me, it's huge. A lot of the designs are taken, essentially. So the idea is everybody has a different one. So that's why the needlepoint kits started happening. I picked it mainly because a lot of designs I thought were cute were taken, and there were some other choices. So, this is where I am at. I basically just started it. I wanted to get some info on how to do needlepoint, and make sure I knew how to do it. So at Stitch Night one night I took this and I had one of the ladies that had done needlepoint before show me, and then I just kind of put it away, but I obviously want to take this back out. I'm thinking over the summer, summer as in when school's out, and getting this done. And needlepoint does go pretty quickly when it's just the half stitch, like basic needlepoint stitch, which is what this is. So I think I'll definitely be able to get it done. I want her to have a stocking this year. So I got the fuzz on the top of the hat, and then this here, done. Aside from that stocking, I have a second stocking that I'm working on. I actually have 3, but I don't think I'm gonna get that third one done. But I do want to try and get this one done. I included in Year of WiPs. I might not get it done, but I definitely want to try and get as close as possible. So we'll see. This is for somebody in the family that doesn't know they're getting one. Because they really need one. They usually use an older one that's just not. Anyway, yeah. So that's that. I don't have a lot done on it. I have very little done on it. I started this like 2 years ago, and I just never went back to it, thinking I would. Then I never did. Where is it? Here it is. So I got the top done. I keep the name hidden. But yeah, so I really need to get a move on that. Not a lot going on that one, but if I don't get it finished, I want to get it closed. I really, really do. Because I need to. I need to. The next one I have is called the Forest Birth Sampler. I called it that just because I don't really know any other name for it. It's a modified version of this sampler I got off of Etsy. I wanted it to be a little bit smaller, and also the person I'm gifting it to didn't want a lot of the information on there. Like this one has a spot for the date and the time and the birth weight, and she doesn't want that. She just wants baby's name on it. So it'd be a lot of blank space, and my Wi-Fi is being really, really slow for some reason. So here we go. So this is what it looks like as a whole. And I know that's not the best, but you get the idea. But again, she doesn't want all that, so I made the border shorter. I made it to about there. And I'm just doing the animals and maybe one of the arrows and the name above. I might not even make it into an arrow. I might just make a double-ended feathery part because I think it would look cuter. We'll see. We'll see what I decide. I'll do something. But yeah, so this is how far I am on it right now. I got the border done, and I started on the little reindeer in the middle. So I want to get that done pretty soon because baby's been here for about a month now. But I haven't had the chance to go see her, and she wanted her to be a little bit older before too many people visit her. So it kind of works out. Hopefully I'll get it done quickly enough that I can get it to her. The next one I've got, you know what, I'm going to, there's one more thing I wanted to show off of here, so I want to let that load. Oh, that loaded a lot faster. Okay, so yeah, I have 2 other birth samplers. These are for my cousins. One is the Flamingo birth sampler, and oh, that technically is something I do need to pull up. So, the theme for her things are flamingos. There's not a lot out there. I found one Etsy pattern, and she didn't really like it. So I'm going to use the Joyful World July block that has flamingos, and I'm editing it. So that's the preview of what it looks like. And it's, you know, it doesn't even show the whole thing because it's the preview. So obviously it won't say July. I'll make the name fit there. And I basically just started this in order to... Oh my gosh, I didn't pull that out. Okay, that's okay. I have a picture on my phone because I recently just took one. I literally just started it so it'd be done for your room. So I started the very top border. So that's all I've got. But now it's started, so it's going to be in my Year of WIPs. The last birth sampler that is in my Year of WIPs is A Gift of Love. This is for my other cousin. I do need to make the hair black though, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that. Because the main part of the blonde hair is a lighter yellow, then a medium, and then a dark. But obviously I want most of the hair to actually be black, the darkest. So maybe I can go backwards, black, and then some gray accents, or just make it all black. I don't know. If you have any ideas for me, I'd really appreciate them. But I haven't started this one, so I gotta start this one in the next couple days. I'll probably swap out the Ada for a 28 count Monaco, just because that's what the other two birth samplers are going. Well, the one for the other baby's going on that, and the one I did for her sibling was also on that, so I kind of want it to be a little uniform. I don't mind stitching on the Ada, but I figured it would look nicer since they're probably going to be hung up near each other to be similar fabric. So that's that one. The next one is Mermaid of Atlantis. I actually don't have that one to show you because it is rolled up, so I'm going to insert pictures of that here. Alright, I really want to get that one done. That's the first mermaid I started, and I love her. Love her. So I really want to get her done this year. I do have some other smaller ones. I've got Sunrise Laguna Mermaid, which is very close to being done. This is what she looks like. I'm doing almost exactly what's on here, except she doesn't have that little boat, and I made some color changes. Mainly because the colors are what grabbed me when I saw this, and when I pulled some of the colors, they were either lighter or darker or not as similar to this as I thought. So I pulled a color that was closer to it, but it is going to look very close to this. And this is where I'm at, and I can tell you I'm almost done. The mermaid herself, I know you can't really see her entirely, there we go, is pretty much all stitched. There's some stitching missing in her hair, and of course her beads, and I started on the flowers in the background and some of the border. So hold on. So yeah, so I'm really excited to get her done. This is on a 28 count fabric from my LNS. I'm pretty sure it's a Lugana, but other than that I don't know the color. It's like a greeny white blue fabric. So really excited about getting her done because it's definitely doable. I'm also working on her sister, Moonlight Laguna Mermaid. This is the original one that caught my eye, and when I found out she had a sister, I started on her, or a companion piece, but I got the pattern for her a lot faster than I got this magazine, so that's why I started on her. Gorgeous. Can't wait. Definitely want to get these two done because I want them to go in Isabella's room. So, she is on a similar fabric, but a little bit darker. This is a 28 count, but I got it as a linen so that it would be darker. I don't remember the name of it, but I know it's a picture of this plus. It's basically like a teal with purple splotches. And I just got one of the greens done in her tail. Probably the one that outlines her tail the most. I wouldn't say it's the more prominent one because the lighter one that goes in these big spots will really take up much more of the tail, but at least it's kind of outlined for me now. And this little chunk here bugs me so much, but once I look at it, I'm going to see that there's going to be stitches of a different green underneath, and that's why it looks that way. But right now it just looks like something like green stitching outside of her fin for some reason. But yeah, I'm super excited about getting her done. I definitely want to get her done. If anything, I hope I get those two done, and I'd rather not get Mermaid of Atlantis done if it came down to it. Hopefully very close, if not done. But hopefully I can get all three, because I'd really like to. Because I have 3 other mermaids on the go, and I'm going to start Queen Mermaid on my birthday, so yeah. Anyway, next project. Here it is. A Good Marriage by Lizzie Pete. I started this last year. That's what it looks like if you aren't already familiar with the pattern. I'm using a similar colored fabric. It was just something from my LNS. It's actually 35 count, random count, but it worked out because I didn't want it to be too big. And I actually got this off Stash Unload because this usually comes as a kit, and I didn't want to use the floss colors that were there. They're mainly crescent colors. But is that the same as Gentle Art sampler threads? I get the feeling that it's one of those where they were both. Whatever. I am using all Gentle Art sampler threads, which I don't have in here for some reason. But I wanted to do the words in red and purple because those are my husband and mine favorite colors. And yeah, so that's why I wanted the kit. Not get the kit because I didn't want to have to then have those flosses to have to sell. So I got A Good Marriage Must Be Created, and I really need to work on the rest. It stitches up really fast though, so I really think I can get that done. It's not very big, and that's the width of it right there. It's all going to fit under A Good Marriage. It doesn't go further out, so it should be fine. Again, 35 count something from my LNS. I just picked it because it looks like a neutral. So yeah, I'm very excited about that one. I definitely want to get that done. Maybe an anniversary gift. My anniversary is not till November, so I have some time that maybe I can make that the goal. I didn't do a goal of when I want to get things done, but that one I would want to get done by then. The next one is A Graceful Tale, which is a Jane Lantley Mayhew. This came from a book. It looks like this. And this is how much I've got done. And it actually should be done a lot faster than it would seem because I'm not doing the nest. I might just do a branch. So this is just on 14 count green Ada from Joann's. Not exactly the green Ada that was suggested in the kit, in the book, but a similar shade. So very pretty, very colorful. So I'm excited to get him done. I think he'll be a lot of fun. And I'd like to, if possible, get him framed in an oval frame. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but I'd really like to try. This is probably an example of one I could kit up by pulling lengths of thread instead of entire skeins. So that's something I might look into. Alright, moving on to First Kiss. This is a kit from China. Unfortunately, I don't have like a picture of it, so I'll just hold it far back. That's kind of what it's going to look like. That's the pattern though. And this is how much I've got done now. This came on 11 count Ada. I did not want it to be that big. And it also came on printed Ada, and I didn't know how I felt about that. So I decided to do it on 28 count even weave. This is the not so even weave by MCG Textiles. But it'll be fine. I don't plan on restarting it, so that's what it looks like so far. 7 colors, and I love it. It's gorgeous. I need to get that done because it's really pretty and I want it up somewhere on my wall. Maybe one of my framing myself adventures, because I don't really think I need... Oh no, what happened here? My gridding thread got caught. There we go. Which is funny, I used to be really adamant about gridding everything, and now I'm like, not everything needs to be gridded. There are some stuff that I definitely do still think are nice to grid, but not everything. Okay, that's 16. On 17 is Halloween Tapiri. This was a freebie by DMC. I apologize, I don't think it's available anymore. This is what it's going to look like. And it is on 14 count Fiddler's Cloth. I probably can cut this, I just haven't, because that's gonna be how big it's gonna be. Like, this is where it turns, and it's gonna, you know, fit in that, so I can cut it. But maybe I'll cut it after I get all the borders stitched. So yeah, not a lot done. I started this, I think, for a SAL. My very first year of stitching, I was really into like, oh, I gotta participate in all the SALs, and then it got overwhelming because there's a lot of SALs. But I do really like the piece. I just wanted to stitch so many things. Alright, Manuela's Sunflowers. So this is a chatelaine freebie. Here it is. Unfortunately, I don't have a finished picture of this because I just got the pattern, but it's basically a very, very tiny mandala. Well, maybe it'll be like that big. Like, well, this is too short, but just like a little square. Very small. And it's just going to have sunflowers and sunflower buds all around. So I'm sorry there's no real finished picture here. I might be able to look one up for my album for your WiPs because I think you kind of really need to see that. But yeah, I didn't get a lot done, and I'd really like to. I want to do a full-size chatelaine. I really want the water garden, and it actually works out pretty nicely because of all the kits out there. It's one of the cheapest. The pattern itself is about the same, $30 maybe, but the kit without fabric, because the fabric it comes with is in a linen, and I definitely want an even weave, but I mean, I'll be able to get, it won't be that bad. It'll probably be about the price of a fat quarter. It depends where I buy it. I might have to order it through my LNS because she'll cut it for me to the size. So then it will be about the size of a fat quarter, but it'll be cut in a square. Anyway, the water garden, the kit without the fabric is like $90, which is really reasonable for a chatelaine. I mean, those kits, they can get up there. Yeah, so I'm really excited, but figured that's how I started with my chatelaine. One day I'll get the water garden, and I'll go from there. The next one I really want, I want two more. I want Alpine Seasons, that one's a very pricey one, and Butterfly Lace Mandala, which is also a very pricey one. There are others I really like, but those are the three that stand out in my mind the most. So I'll probably start with the water garden because it is the most affordable, and go from there. Alright, this one, you know what? I'm going to leave this one for the end, even though, because I was just going down my list, but someone who watches my videos pretty often might see this before he gets this, and I don't want him to, so that way I can tell him, stop the video now, go away. So I'll skip that one for now, and I'm going to go down to Drats. I don't have it on me. Ah! Okay, good time, because I think I need to pause and change out my battery, so I'll be right back. Okay, so the next one is a project I adopted for my husband. He has stitched one piece, started a second one. I warned him because it's big and it's a lot of red. But he's like, yeah, I want to stitch it, He's like, no. He says he will stitch something, but it's got to be small. It's got to fit in like a 4x6 frame, and it shouldn't be full coverage, and I think he'll be able to do that. But this is called Rebels Coming Proud. It's off of Etsy. Trying to see it. Stitch Fusion. So it looks like that. You can see it's a lot of red. It's huge. I don't know what the stitch count on this because it's not on this page, but it's pretty big. It's nice. It was 4 colors of floss, so I had his little thing all set up, and this is how much he got done. So I want to finish that for him, and I figured it'll be an easy stitch in a way because of all the red. So if I can get the letters and the outline, because it's an outlined in a slightly darker red, and then the rest is in the same lighter red, then it'll be something I can just stitch on here and there, you know. So that'll be something. Maybe I'll keep it in my car, I don't know. Live, Laugh, Love. I don't think I picked that one up. Did I? Yes, I did. Thank goodness, because I didn't want to stop again. I'm almost done here, people. So this is very, very simple kit I picked up at Walmart when I started stitching. It's a Ready Set Stitch, so like a kit to learn. It's by Jan Lynn, and this is what it's going to look like when it's complete. And I do have a lot of stuff that I feel like I started when I first started stitching, so that's why I want to just cycle these and get these out. They're small, they shouldn't take that long in the first place. I know I want to stitch on some of my bigger, more complex things, but I don't want to just UFO these. I like them. I started them, and they're kind of a like my journey to getting where I was, or where I am, so I want to get them done. So I started, and I did that. I actually did this at a birthday party. That was in a pool splash zone, and I didn't want to get wet that day, so I kind of hung out and just stitched on it, and that was, I think, like the only time I stitched on it. So you know, I want to get that done. Then I'm working on Mini Unleash the Butterflies. This is a Heaven and Earth design. I just realized I don't have the picture on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up because I have one on my phone. It's gonna look like this. It's gorgeous. This is by Cindy Nielsen. This is the mini, and I have gotten it started, but I'm still on the first page. However, I went into the second page, so technically the second page is already a WIP as well. So the page ends here. You can see I've got some stitches on the second page, so my goal is to get this one done and then the next one done. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I think it'll go fairly quickly for Heaven and Earth because it is it's monochromatic, so there's only 14 floss colors, so there are big sections of it that are just the same color. Sorry, I'm just putting this away into my pillowcase where I keep my full coverage designs that are still on Q snaps. So yeah, I want to get 2 pages done on that one. The next one is Mini Sunrise, also a Heaven and Earth, and even though I think I might get 2 pages done, I just made my goal 1. I don't want to go crazy because, again, there's a lot going on in here WIPs already for me, plus I am having a baby in 5 weeks, so this might not happen, but I'm going to try. So yeah, the first page has a lot of this one color, so I'm about halfway done with that. Ooh, this has unraveled a lot up here. I definitely need to like fray check that or something because it's starting to get a little close there. Anyway, that's how much I've got done. I think it's entirely doable to get that page done. It's already gridded out, so you're going to see exactly what it looks like. I also want to do her companion piece, Sunset. Right now, she's only available as the full size, and this is the mini, because I don't see myself stitching a lot of full-size Heaven and Earth. I have one full-size Heaven and Earth that I purchased, not started. It's pretty huge, and I got it because it's special to me and my husband, so when I saw the chart released, I was like, done. This is the one Heaven and Earth that I'll stitch full size. Even though I could have requested it as a mini, but I think it'll be worth it. Who knows when I'll start that? Probably not until 2019. But anyway, so I want to start on them and work on them simultaneously, but I figured I'm going to set myself a goal of getting the top row done of Mini Sunrise before I start on Sunset, because first I have to request for her to be turned into a mini, unless I get lucky and somebody does so before I decide to start her, but that might not happen. So I think it's $10 to request it to be turned into a mini. Then I actually have to purchase the pattern. So I know that's too expensive, but I've got enough going on that I can wait. So yeah. The last one, aside from the one I want to put away, is... Oh, there's some flosses in here. The problem I had with this is I wrote down what month these flosses go with, and I don't know where it is. So that's going to be an interesting... I can tell what's more, like, clearly I wanted that one to be October because it looks like Halloween. There's one here that looks like Easter. That's got to be, you know, April. I see the one I chose for March. I see the one I chose for February. So I'll have to figure the other ones out. I'm pretty sure that looks like December to me. So I think enough of them are telling that I can figure out what the rest of the flosses are meant to go for. But I'm just using variegated flosses for this. I apologize. I don't think I've got a preview image of this. It's a freebie that I got off a Russian website that I had to search for. I saw it on Stitch Mania and I'm like, this is what I saw. Does somebody know what this is? I want to do it so bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna find it, you guys. Oh look, somebody has a finish up of the December block. So at least you can get the idea. I am doing this all in one piece. So, oh come on. Come on, they're waiting. Okay, here we go. So that's the December block finish. So it's the month name and a cute little design. But I'm doing it all in one piece. So my goal is to get February and March done. If I get more done, great. I just don't want to commit to more because I might not get to it. Maybe I'll get more done and that'll be great, but I guess they won't be Year of WIPs. So yeah, I got January done last year, and I'd like to get February and March done. So yeah, I'll probably work on that, I don't know, sometime soon. I have the file saved on my computer somewhere because I need to decide how many spaces I'm going to do in between the blocks so that it fits nicely. I really don't know. And I know I measured it out because my fabric, I made sure it was big enough. So I had an idea of how I'm spacing these out. I'll probably only do a block or two in between. And I haven't decided if I'm going to do it longer or further across. Let me see what this fabric looks like. It might, I think it'll fit either way. I'd like to either do 3 across and 4 down or 4 across and 3 down. I have to decide what I'm going to do. But I don't know if you can tell this is glittery, but this is kind of like sprayed on. This isn't woven in because you can't see it from the back. So this is like a fabric flare. There you go. You can kind of see the sparkle there. This was a gift from my hubby. It was one of the first stitchy gifts he ever got me. So yeah, and I guess since I already know them, this is going to be the floss for February. Very Valentine's Day-ish. And this is going to be the floss for March. St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, we'll see how much I get done. I'm excited. The last one is a gift. So, hubby, if you're watching and you haven't already gotten this gift, you need to look away now. Just turn the video off because this is really big for me and I don't want you to spoil it. And if you do, I'll be so mad. And I might confiscate this piece for a little while. So, if you're Michael, you need to go away right now. Bye. Mike, my husband, if there's any other Mikes watching, you can stay. Okay. When I very first started stitching, my hubby wanted this piece so bad. I asked him, you know, if there's anything you ever want me to stitch for you, let me know and I'll do it. I was like, after I gave him his first stitch gift, which he liked, but I'm like, hey, if there's anything like you specifically want, like there's a lot out there, go look, tell me, we'll stitch it for you. And he found a piece through Reddit because the man lives on Reddit. And it wasn't a stitched piece, but I'm almost sure it was crafty. I don't know if it was embroidered, I don't know if it was painted, but I know something sparked the thought in his mind like, oh, she could stitch this for me. Because I know if he just saw like an image, like a digital image, he wouldn't have connected the pieces because like he just doesn't think that way. It's not an insult, I love him to death, but he doesn't think that way. So it was an artsy piece already, but it wasn't cross stitch because he wasn't like, hey, I found a pattern, here you go, or somebody stitched this, can you find this? But he's like, that, I want that. It's totally not my style, but it's perfect for him, especially in his office. So it is a subversive piece. If you have children and they can read, I would put them away. or put them away. I would send them away so they don't see this. I'm not gonna say it because I don't particularly like to. Nothing against people who do. I've never been one that was around a lot of swearing, so I don't do it myself, but it doesn't bug me if other people do it. I don't, whatever. And my husband does, not to me obviously, because that would be terrible, but like just in conversation or when he's gaming or whatever. So anyway, this is what it is. You can read it there for yourself. I don't want to read it out loud because then it'll be really obvious what it is. People might hear. I'm modifying this though. I'm doing it till there. I'm making it 9 by 9. I think it might be 8 by 8. So the castle isn't going to show in the clouds. Cause I thought the clouds looked kind of silly, so I didn't want to include them. But then I'm like, there's going to be... Ooh, my battery's going to die. I'll be right back. I'm so glad I noticed that. My battery was literally dying. The camera hadn't shut off, but just in case... this is the last piece that is in my year of WiPs, is a gift for my husband. So in case that cut out, Mike, if you're watching, please go away. I love you, but I don't want this to be spoiled. So yeah, I was showing you what it looks like. I was letting you read it because it is subversive. So yeah, I originally didn't want to do the clouds because they looked really silly to me. And then I decided, you know what, because the way I have it set up on the Q-snap, you're going to see it's perfectly centered to fit on the Q. It's on an 11 by 11 Q-snap, but the stitch area for that is 10 by 10. And then the grime guard makes it around 9 by 9, the area that I can see. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this could go really nicely in either a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12 frame. So I decided to also cut the castle out, which I'm so glad I did because the cabin took a long time to stitch. So I did that. And the other reason I'm glad is because this pattern is huge. Like, to me, this is something that I thought it was going to fit in a 5 by 7 frame, to be honest. On the smallest suggested fabric on here, which is 16 count, it wouldn't fit in an 8 by 10. I'd have to use an 11 by 14. I was like, no, no. I'm not doing that. That's way too big. She suggested either 16, 14, or 12 count Aida, which honestly, I've never heard of 12 count Aida. I've heard of, you know, 18, 16, 14, 11. I've never seen 12 count, so I don't know. I don't even know what that's about. So yeah, I wasn't doing that. So I'm like, okay, let me see how much, but even, like I said, on 16 count Aida, I'd still be 11 by 14. So obviously on 14 count Aida, I would be 2. So I'm like, well, even if I use even weave, that's still going to be big. Just about 11 by 14, maybe a little smaller, because sometimes I find that even weave, because it's closely knit together, it's a tiny bit smaller than the 14 count, not by a lot, because they're supposed to match. Anyway, so I decided to do it 1/1, and I'm still gonna have, like originally I was gonna have to use the 8 by 10 frame. So I'm really glad how it worked out. The only problem is I wasn't thinking. You see how there is that H in shalt, thou shalt. I stitched that H because it's above the it, which I've already stitched. Then I wasn't thinking, and instead of stitching shalt and continuing with the A and the L, I somehow thought I had stitched the H in thou. So I started stitching the O and the U, and that's not what, like, I'm like, why is this looking off? This is looking off. I don't understand what's going on. I'm gonna have to frog 1/1 stitches on 28 count. Hold on, I dropped something. I don't even know how I'm going to do that. The seam ripper is a little too thick, and scissors are a bit too thick. So I can leave the H, but I basically have to frog that D, the T, and the O. Oh, so I stitched the T. I'm just so upset. I'm so upset. Mainly because tiny stitches. If it was 2/2, I'd be annoyed, but not quite as much. It's just frogging is going to be a pain. I wanted to have this done for Christmas. I could have gotten it if I hadn't made this mistake, and then it got me so down that I'm just like, just forget it. Maybe I'll get it done for his birthday. If I can frog it, it's going to go pretty quickly. So yeah, this is what it looks so far. I really like it. It's coming out nice. Even though it's not my style, because, I don't know. But I know he's really, really, really gonna like this, and I want to do it so bad. Maybe I'll leave this out and try and frog that today. I think I might do that. I think that'll motivate me to get it going again, and then get it done. I did a few color swapping on this, though, because some of the colors just looked odd to me. Like these trees were in black. I mean, I know it's a barren field, but geez. I thought that was a little too much, so I did very dark brown. I think it's 30, no, it's not that, it's just a dark brown I had in leftover floss. And also the field, it goes from like a goldenrod yellow to black, which again I didn't like, so I made it go from goldenrod yellow to the darkest brown available, which is, what is that, $33.79? Or is that the gray? I always confuse the darkest gray and the darkest brown numbers. But I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I have it written down. Yeah, $33.71, I think. Unless I messed up. But yeah. So I am excited to get that done. This is definitely going to be done. I want it done so bad. If it doesn't get done for his birthday, it's definitely getting done this year. I'm just so bummed about having messed that up. I was so upset. The moment I realized it, I was like, ah. I just put my stitching away. I just put it away because I was like, I was upset. Anyway, that is my year of WIPs. Will I get 26 projects done? I don't know. It kind of motivates me that the goal is to get half of those done, because I can definitely get 13 done. Mainly because I'm pretty sure I can get those 2 pieces done, the February and the March, so that's 2 right there. I'm definitely going to get the palm done, that's 3. I'm definitely getting Quotes to Live By done. I think that's going to be done in January, that's 4. I'm pretty sure I can definitely get Sunrise Laguna Mermaid at least, that's 5. The Santa is getting done, that's 6. Harry Potter titles are getting done, that's 7. I'm definitely getting the birth sampler done, the forest one. That's 8. The other 2 are very reasonably gonna be done. So that's 10. I'd only need to finish 3 more that I'm like, oh, maybe I won't finish those. But that's only 3 more that I would need to get done. And I can definitely do that. My goal is to get as close to the 26 done as possible. But, I mean, every time I look at this list, I'm like, there's nothing on here that I really want to go past 2018. Now, again, it might happen once I have Isabella, we'll see, and this might, I'll just be like, whatever, forget it. But, I think it can work out. I really do think it can. Because none of these are huge, except maybe for the stocking. Everything else is pretty reasonable. They're not big. They're just old, and I want to move on. Maybe the Heaven and Earth pages, but again, the ones I'm working on don't have a lot of color changes. I feel like my Heaven and Earth right now are not as challenging as they could be because they use so little colors. Obviously, once I get into the actual fairy for sunset, sunrise, there'll be a lot more color changes, but for the sky, it's like 4 colors. And Unleash the Butterflies is 14 colors altogether. So there's a lot of blocks of the same color. So maybe it is reasonable, especially page 1 of Unleash the Butterflies, because there's not a lot left. So I think even with everything I've got going on this year, this is doable for me. So I'm really looking forward to getting hopefully all these done, but if not, at least half. Probably a little more than half. Anyway, I appreciate you spending time with me. I'm super excited to do Year of WIPs and really do it this year. I thought I was going to do it last year and I wasn't organized and I didn't stitch at all. So I'm really excited and I look forward to getting it done, getting this stuff done and sharing with you along my journey. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Again, this will be up before the 18th because it needs to be, but it might be a couple days. So whenever you see this, enjoy and I'll see you later. Bye.